Hello everyone and welcome to Changeling Gaming. Today I'm going to be teaching you how to play Once Upon a Time. Once Upon a Time is a level 1 pick up and play storytelling game for 2 to 6 players that takes on average 10 to 20 minutes to play. In Once Upon a Time, we play as storytellers, gathering to create a new fairy tale using nothing but our improvisational wits and some cards to guide us on our way to an assigned ending. Setup. Shuffle the deck of story cards and the deck of ending cards thoroughly. Deal an ending card to each player. Then, deal each player a number of story cards equal to 11 minus the number of players with a minimum of 5. How to play. The first storyteller begins by saying, "Once upon a time," and then continuing to tell a fable-like story however they want to begin, improvising from there. However, they will want to steer the story in a direction that allows them to play the story cards in their hand, of which they can play only one per sentence, so long as the card being played is important to the story being told and not simply a passing reference to a background element of the story. All story cards can be played in this manner, regardless of whether they are interrupt cards or regular cards. The storyteller continues telling the story as they wish, until they are interrupted, challenged, or decide to pass to the next player. If they decide to pass, then they draw a story card and can discard a card of their choice. There are 2 different ways to interrupt the storyteller and take over the story. The first is to play a story card from your hand that matches what the storyteller just said in terms of wording or themes. So if a queen has a son, a player can interrupt to the prince card even though the word prince is never spoken. The other form of interrupt is when the storyteller plays one of their story cards that is of a type that you have an interrupt card for, as determined by these symbols and colors. In this situation, the player plays their interrupt card and for clarity can say, "Actually it was," / "they were," and then continue the story as the new storyteller. However, if their interruption is determined to be incorrect or invalid by the other players, then they are unsuccessful in their interrupt, lose the card they are trying to interrupt with, and draw 2 more cards, with the current storyteller continuing. When the storyteller is challenged, it can be in one of several situations. The storyteller could be stuck and not speaking, or they could be rambling without a goal, cycling without adding new information to the story. They could also be contradicting previously established facts for the story, taking the story in a direction that is way too silly to be considered possible, even in a fable. Or they could be adding entirely unimportant elements to the story for the sole purpose of playing cards. When the storyteller loses the story through either an interrupt or a challenge, they draw a card but do not discard a card. Once the storyteller plays their last story card, they have at most a sentence or 2 to wrap up the story before they must read out their ending card. If that ending card does not logically or satisfactorily satisfy the story being told, then the other players may vote that it does not work. In which case the storyteller takes a new ending card, a new story card, and the role of storyteller passes on to the next player. If the ending card is close though, be kind to your fellow players and accept their ending of the story. Please note that an ending card cannot be interrupted. A few final points. If ever a challenge or interrupt is unclear, have the players who are not involved vote on an answer. It is also important to point out that the purpose of this game is to tell a story and not get bogged down in the weeds. So don't use the rules to dominate the other players, especially if they're not as confident. The goal is to tell enjoyable and entertaining stories together. The first storyteller is determined by pulling the top ending card and moving on to the player whose first name comes next in alphabetical order from the big red letter on the card, circling from Z to A if necessary. So go out and create some entertaining stories with your friends. Be open to the fun and creativity and enjoy yourselves as you craft a brand new fable for yourselves. If you have any questions about the game, feel free to pose them in the comments below, or take a look to see if someone else has already answered it down there, and be sure to thank them if they have. If you want to learn more about what our ranking system means, check out this video here. And if you want to learn how to play more games, check out our playlist here. And remember, keep changing, keep gaming, have fun.